Hello, Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. Thank you for your patience. I think we are all set and ready to go here. Very good. So I hope you can all hear me and that we are live now. I'm Barbara Scalera, the Success Hypno Coach. I'm a master hypnotherapist and master NLP success coach. And I specialize in working with women entrepreneurs and quickly identifying and removing those underlying limiting beliefs, doubts, and fears that exist in our subconscious mind that are actually what hold us back, cause us to play small, procrastinate, or sabotage our own success. And they are particularly difficult to deal with at this time of year when it comes to goal setting. And especially this year, right? After we've been through so much in the past 2 years, and our amygdala, the primitive part of our brain, has been constantly on the go because that's the part that identifies danger. And our amygdalas have been in overdrive. And what happens then is that we are encouraged, so our subconscious mind is sensing danger and trying to get us to pull back even further into our own comfort zones. Because why? Because, it's a dangerous world out there, right? And our amygdala has not evolved over time. So it's still reacting as if that saber-toothed tiger is constantly charging for us and chasing us, as opposed to what we are actually facing in the form of a global pandemic, resulting inflation, etc. And so it becomes even more difficult to have the motivation, the self-belief, the confidence, the energy to set big goals for this coming year, and more importantly, to take the consistent, focused, motivated action that we need to take in order to achieve those goals. And why is it that the subconscious can really affect this? Well, believe it or not, it's the subconscious mind that actually controls 95% of our thoughts, feelings, actions, and perceptions. So that's why our New Year's resolutions don't work, because we create those with our conscious mind, right? With our logical thinking, the thoughts we are aware of during the day, our willpower. That's all part of our conscious mind, but our conscious mind is only in charge of 5%. It's the subconscious that's large and in charge, ladies. And believe it or not, we create our subconscious between the ages of 0 and just 8, 9, 10 years old. Why? Because that is when we are learning how to survive in this world. And that's the role of our subconscious mind, to keep us surviving in this world. So those of you who have kids will know this, that they're like sponges at this age, right? Because what we were doing at that time was observing everything around us and taking in also what we were being taught and told, and making sweeping decisions about ourselves based on our own experience. And so, yes, we were learning these crucial things like hot things can burn, and I need oxygen to breathe, and how gravity works, and that people respond better to smiles and to being nice rather than being bitten, or tantrums or that sort of thing. And we were writing all of that into our subconscious rule book of life as absolute truths. The problem is we were also writing in some limiting beliefs, doubts, or fears because we were just children and we couldn't differentiate between the two. So for example, you got called on at school, you gave the wrong answer, the teacher yelled at you, the kids made fun of you, maybe you got bullied after class, then you got in trouble at home, and your subconscious says, okay, what just happened? That was awful. We don't ever want to go through that again. That put us in danger. We stood out, or we spoke out, or we turned the spotlight on us and were seen and heard. Let's never do that again. And you write into your subconscious rule book a vow of invisibility, right? It's not safe to speak out or stand out or voice our opinion or whatever you decided as that child in that little traumatic moment. Okay, just to give you one or two more examples, if at home you always heard that money doesn't grow on trees and, we have to work so hard for it, we can't afford it, who do you think you are, the Rockefellers or the royal family or, things like that, then you would have written into that rule book that, money is hard to come by and it's not available to me. Or if there might have been lots of money or there might have not been very much, but if there was a lot of fighting around it, if it caused unhappiness in the home as you were growing up, then you might have decided that, money makes people unhappy. These types of decisions that as a child with, just your limited experience of the world, these are the kind of decisions we can make and write into that rule book. And we're writing them in the same, big, bold letters, the permanent ink that we're writing in, I need oxygen to breathe, or how gravity works, because we think this is an absolute truth as well. You're always compared to an older sibling who can do things better because they're older. You may have decided, I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'll never succeed. These different things that happen that are natural byproducts of our childhood. So yes, if you had a very traumatic childhood, you're going to have a lot more limiting beliefs, doubts, and fears that you wrote into that rule book. But everyone has some, because this is just what happens as we grow up. And then age 8, 9, 10 years old, we close that book. And that's it. That is the rule book that our subconscious mind then governs us by for the rest of our lives, all the way through adulthood, unless we know how to go back in at that subconscious level and change that belief system. And so what happens as, the amazing women entrepreneurs that we are when we have these big goals, for example, wanting to really put ourselves out there on social media in order to promote our businesses, get known, grow our client base, and we want to exude that confidence and to really come across as authentic, congruent, confident. But you had that experience back when you were a child and you wrote into that rule book, it's not safe to stand out or speak out, or I can't show who I really am to the world. That's a direct conflict between what you have in your subconscious rule book as an absolute truth and what you want as a woman entrepreneur with big goals, right? With that success that you are absolutely worthy and deserving of achieving. The problem is the part of you that wants that success is your conscious mind, the 5% part. The subconscious that's in charge of 95% of your thoughts, feelings, actions, perceptions thinks that's not safe or right for you to do. And then we have a problem, because your subconscious isn't just in control of your thoughts, feelings, actions, it's also in control of your body as well. So first, it may try and bring up a ton of resistance to stop you from putting yourself out there in the first place. And up comes the critical voice, right? Who do you think you are? No one's going to listen to you. You're not as experienced as somebody else. You're going to be judged and criticized, right? That inner critic that we all hate, that pops its ugly head up and starts spouting the fears and the doubts. So it causes the resistance. It may cause brain fog, fatigue, cause you to procrastinate, to get distracted by shiny things, all these different ways it has of sabotaging your efforts to try and stop you from, for example, putting yourself out there if that's what it believes isn't safe for you. You may push through all of that, and you may go get up on that stage to do the TED Talk or go live in a video like this or whatever that is for you. And suddenly everything you had practiced you were going to say goes right out of your head. Or suddenly you've got the sore throat, the laryngitis, right? So it can sabotage you on the spot. Or sometimes it absolutely does allow you to have that success, to get there, to absolutely nail that live event. You know, you go to the networking event and you just shine and do great, whatever that is. And then it brings the self-doubt up afterwards and causes you to sabotage the success. You know, maybe you don't do the follow-up you were supposed to, or you leave all the business cards in a taxi, or, you know, who knows, but it has so many ways of trying to stop you from doing what it feels is not safe for you, or it's not right for you, or it's not available to you based on the decisions you made or what you were taught or what you observed during those crucial years as a child when you were creating your own subconscious. So what do we do about that, right? Because that means it's a constant uphill battle. First of all, it'll cause the resistance to you even setting the big goals. Either you set them much smaller because they feel less threatening and more doable, or you tell yourself, which, you know, I certainly know some people are doing, especially at the moment, it's still the pandemic, inflation is awful, there's just no point in setting big goals this year. Or you set them, but then you're going to sabotage your efforts to get there. So what can we do about that? Well, the good news is we absolutely can do a great deal about it, because there are ways that we can go back in, open that subconscious rule book, find what those specific limiting beliefs and doubts are that are the ones that conflict with either the success you want or the actions you would need to take to have that success, because the subconscious is looking at both and looking for, does any of that conflict with what we feel is safe for you to do? Okay, so we have these wonderful ways of going back into that rule book, erasing those limiting beliefs, doubts, fears, and then writing in a far more empowered belief system, and also getting your subconscious to become laser focused on that success that you want and believe that it is actually what's best for you. And then everything changes. Your energy is different. You have far more consistent motivation. It's like, so the fear and anxiety just dissipates and you're actually excited. And you know, you've either experienced it or you've heard other people talk about it, where suddenly you're just in flow and it's all so much easier, and you know, collaborators, the right clients, the right people to help you seem like suddenly they're coming to you instead of you having to constantly chase them. It's just a completely different way of operating. It feels different. It's so much more pleasurable. So I have a free 5-day training coming up that's actually starting this coming Monday, so February 7th through the 11th. And it's an online training, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what time zone, because even if you're not with me live, I'll be on live from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central European time every day. But the recordings from each session are going to be available to you for the entire week. And what we are going to be doing is identifying what some of these subconscious blocks are and working on releasing them and setting your goals in a way that brings your subconscious in alignment with them and really makes your subconscious your superpower to achieving your goals instead of your biggest goal saboteur, which it very well may be at the moment. So the link is going to be below this video. I'll put it in. Again, it's free. It's the 5 days coming up this coming week, February 7th through the 11th. The recordings will be available so that you can see them anytime. We're going to do so much great work together. I really hope you'll join me. And I'm at successhypno.coach. Email Barbara at successhypno.coach if you think that changing your belief system while you sleep at night, because I create laser focused hypnosis tracks for you specifically on your goals when you work with me one-on-one, and you get to put them on while you sleep. And while you sleep, I reprogram your brain for success. So if that sounds interesting to you, then reach out to me, Barbara at successhypno.coach. Thank you so much.